All right, guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Powerful Badass Humans. I'm here today with one of my absolute favorite women in the fucking universe. Lisa
I love
I
you.
love you. She's
Hi.
freaking amazing. This woman is not only a badass entrepreneur, getting shit done, kicking ass and taking names. She was also like pageant queen and just Miss Las Vegas and just so many different incredible things. So I'm really excited to have her. Thank you, Lisa, for being
Of
here.
course. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, duh. So first and foremost, before we get into it, please give us a little more about you.
Sure. So I'm just, an entrepreneur based in Las Vegas. I've been here about 8 years, started my first company in 2012, Sin City Cupcakes, with my partner Danielle with that. And it's just been a blessing to be able to be part of the business ecosystem here. I very graciously won the title of Miss Las Vegas and Miss Nevada in 2014. And that allowed me to really amplify my community engagement, get out there, meet people I otherwise wouldn't have met, and self-serving lead ended up really helping me with not only my personal brand, but also my businesses.
Right? Amazing. I love it. I love it. All right. So I waste no time. So we're going to get right into it.
Let's do it.
All right, girl. Tell me about your biggest failure and or struggle that you've dealt with up until now.
Sure. I think oftentimes, especially when you're in a male-dominated industry, it's really tough to get over that underestimation part of it. I remember the very first year that we were in business with Sin City Cupcakes, Danielle and I were trying to get our cupcakes into a specific major casino. And fast forward now, over 6 years later, we have a great relationship with them. Everything's all good. We know the president. We see him at golf tournaments every year that we cater. Everything's good. In that initial meeting, he, the president, walked in with his head pastry chef, and Danielle and I were already seated there in the meeting room. And he walked in and he goes, "Oh, hey girls, you guys are cute. Are the owners coming?" we were both like, this is 2012. I was 27. Yeah. And so Danielle and I just kind of like looked at each other like, it's
Bitch,
us.
I am the owner.
Oh, no, we were thinking, like, it's us, like, ha ha ha. So, it was one of those things where it's like, well, what side do you take very quickly, right? Do you jump up and you're like, I am the owner, and you get insulted, right? And then it totally changes the tone of the meeting, and who knows what would have happened. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, you've got to be in there and remember why you're there, right? What's the purpose of this meeting anyway? And it's for you to get a deal done. It's for you to get something done that you want, right? So negotiate and make sure that you're bringing your game face to the table.
Yeah. I mean, it's really easy in those moments to get super triggered. And
totally.
I mean, my initial instinct is, fuck you, bitch. I am the owner. But that said, it's very important to receive these things neutrally.
Correct.
And to not allow them to trigger you, because that's not going to end up serving anybody. You can say something, but you can say something in a neutral way, so that you're still able to keep your position of power, so to say. In that.
Yeah. Well, and I think, and this very well, but especially being a woman or a young woman in business, you have to have, I think, a higher kind of tolerance, right? A higher tolerance level, a higher threshold, because without that, he didn't mean it maliciously, right? He didn't mean it maliciously. He's actually a very nice man, a nice guy. But in that moment, it came off super chauvinistic and super rude, Yeah. But yeah, if we would have jumped up and been super insulted and either ended the meeting there, or it would have started off really awkward, frankly, we probably wouldn't have gotten the deal. And then our trajectory would have been completely different for the company.
Well, yeah, and I think this is actually really, really important, which is why I'm sticking with it a little bit, because this is something that comes up really, really frequently with women, where they're either in a meeting or in a negotiation or whatever it might be, and they receive something in a very negative way, which, could very well be the case.
Reasonable. Sure. Yeah, it could be reasonable.
Right? Yeah. And while I'm a big advocate for standing up for yourself always,
Yes, of course.
it's also really important to stay in that neutral place, right?
Yeah. It has to be tempered, right? It has to be,
Yeah.
kind of even keel, because if someone is over emotional or hot headed or whatever, you know, this as women, all of a sudden now we're a bitch, or we're unreasonable, or we're super emotional, unreasonably so.
Yeah.
So it's just another layer that we have to be conscious of.
Yeah. Well, and end of the day, personally, I can give a fuck what anybody thinks.
Yes, yes.
But if I'm there for a meeting for myself and growing my business like you were there for Sin City Cupcakes, you have a goal. You're meeting with this guy for a reason. You want to be able to get your cupcakes into
the property. Yeah.
Property. Yeah, like that. There is a bigger game at stake here.
Correct.
So not allowing that to affect you in a negative way, hearing it and maybe giving a neutral comment back if you really feel you need to say something in a neutral way where it's not offensive and you're still able to receive, the benefit of why you ever showed up.
Yeah, exactly. We just kind of we were stunned at first, and we looked at each other, and we kind of laughed it off, and we were like, it's us, idiot. You know what I mean? We're just
yes, that's the best. That's the best. Make him feel like an idiot.
Yeah, we're just it's
sorry, bro.
Yeah, come on, people. And then we just jumped right into it. So it was, and everyone had this kind of awkward laugh, and then boom, we just jumped right into it. And then after that, okay, he could see we were there to get business done.
Yeah. And in that moment, he probably doesn't feel that great. And there's your moment. So
yeah,
good.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. All right. So you've probably dealt with a lot of that.
It happens frequently. Yeah, it happens frequently. And just like we mentioned, you can't let it get you down. You can't let it frustrate you to a point where it's affecting your performance or your behavior in a negative way. I remember a time when I worked at the law firm. So again, really male dominated industry. I had a specific client actually, of the firm, his client of the firm, really old school guy. He was 70 years old, Russian. He was like this old Eastern European guy, which is super old school, only wanted to work with male attorneys. That's just how he was. Right. And so everyone in the office was just like, okay, whatever, we'll just deal with it. And so I didn't work with him directly up until this point. We had to take a deposition of him. It was going to take less than an hour. We already had 2 pages of questions. He already had them in advance, but you just had to physically sit down. He's seated, right across from you in the room. Someone's got to record it. And they just needed recording of someone asking him the questions and him answering the questions. That was it. Easy, straightforward, right? So my boss was like, can you just take this? Everyone's busy, backed up. Can you just do it? And I was just like, man, you know what I mean? I was I was 25 and I was just like, man, he doesn't like me. I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to do it because I know that guy's a jerk and he doesn't want to work with me. He doesn't like me. And so I was just like, oh, okay. So I go in there, we sit down. I said, do you need anything before we get started? And he said, I'd like a cup of coffee. I was like, no problem. I call in the admin. She brings in a cup of coffee. She leaves. And the second she left, he was like, I want you to go get me a cup of coffee.
Oh, hell no.
Just straight up, right? I was just I was 25 and I was just stunned. I was floored. I was I was just staring at him because I was flabbergasted that wow, this is for real happening. And I was like, okay. And my mind was racing. My heart was pounding. My mind was racing. And in that moment, it taught me a really valuable lesson. Look, I'm never going to change that guy's mind, right? He's not going to just be like, you're so valuable, Lisa. I respect everything you're doing, but no, I'm not going to change that guy's mind, especially in that moment. Right. So you have to meet them where they're at. Again, thinking the larger picture, what are you there to do? What are you there to accomplish? What's your goal for that meeting anyway? But you've got to meet them where they're at and speak their language. Right.
Yep.
So I'm staring at him and I'm flabbergasted. And then I was like, okay, I can go get you a cup of coffee. It'll take me about 15 minutes. I bill out at $450 an hour. So let me know if you want me to go do that. And he just stared at me. We had this stare off, standoff,
That's the best response ever.
We just stared at each other, and I was like, don't break his stare, don't break his stare, because if I break the stare, I lose, you know? Like, I was just staring at him.
Oh my God, girl, that's amazing. So what happened?
So he waves his hand, like, very dismissively, like, waves his hand like this, and like, kind of like grunts. And I just took that as like a move forward, and I hit the record button and jumped into the first question.
Amazing.
And,
wow.
and it got done. I mean, yeah, it was one of those things. What was I going to do? Get up and walk out in tears, and then go to my boss's office and be like, that guy's mean to me.
No, totally.
You know? Like,
I can't. And you said such a key thing. You're not going to be able to, not only are you not going to be able to change his mind, it is not your job to change his mind. Yeah. And what matters is not that he likes you or if he finds you valuable, it's that you like you and that you find yourself valuable, right? Like, as a coach, this is one of the biggest things that I coach my clients on all the time. It's all a projection. So you were in a place where you did value yourself, and you do value yourself, and you do like yourself. So you didn't take it in that negative way, and you totally owned his ass. That's awesome.
like you got to meet them where they're at, right? Like, talk their language. Like if there's one thing this guy cares about, is going to be his money, right? So if it's 15 minutes to brew up some coffee, like, I'll do it. I'll go out there and brew it up, right? You think I'm gonna bill you 15 minutes at $40-50 an hour to make you coffee that you already have coffee. You already have coffee right in front of your face. Like, for real, you know what I mean? Like, let's think about this reasonably and rationally.
Oh my God, I love. No, that's the best story ever.
Like I said, that happened at 25. It was the first time anything like that had ever happened to me. And I remember after work, I was in my car and I was on the phone with my mom. I was telling her what was happening, and I was so pissed, you know what I mean? I was so frustrated. And I was telling her about it, and I was like crying because I was frustrated, you know, and telling her like what a jerk that guy was and the whole thing. And that's, you know, that's the outlet you have to have as well, but you don't do it in front of them. You don't do it at the office. You don't do it in the boardroom. You don't do it anywhere where it can be seen.
No.
You do it in the comfort of your own home or whatever, you know, private area, and you do it with someone you trust, right? Mom, best friend, you know, husband, boyfriend, whatever. And that's when you can let it out and be like, that guy's a jerk and whatever, but you got to get it done, right?
I can't agree with you more. I can't agree. That response is epic.
Talk the language. Right? Someone's got to have, you know, something that they're concerned about in that meeting, right?
No, I hear you. All right. Wow. Amazing. Moving on. Although I kind of want to stay on that forever. But so what is the biggest challenge that you're dealing with now? That could be inside, outside, like whatever.
Well, there are two main things. One is, so Ship Las Vegas, the mailbox rental pack and ship store. We just got that up and running. So that's been awesome. We opened 2 stores, which was unexpected. I opened the first store April 11th, and the second store got open May 23rd. So June, this past month, was the first month that both stores are open.
Wow.
So that's awesome and super exciting. Yeah, we just finished up our Q2 reports and all that, but you know, real talk, like, I'm putting in money every 2 weeks into the company account to make payroll and rent because we just got open, right? So we're certainly not cash flowing, and we're not making enough money to even cover our salaries and rent at the moment, right? Because we just got the stores open. That's the hurdle with having retail, is that we're open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Someone's got to man it, right? Someone's got to man the counter. And if it's not me, then I'm paying someone to do that.
Absolutely.
So that sucks. You know what I mean? That sucks to have to put in money every 2 weeks, and you're just like, oh, come on, you know, but it's part of it, and I signed up for it. So I'm okay with it. And I'm keeping my eyes on the prize. I'm looking at the long term. I'm excited for the holiday season to come up, because obviously I'm expecting we'll recoup some gains there. Yeah. And then, you know, just as we continue to do more marketing, more word of mouth, and getting the locations out there is what's really important. So we've been focusing a lot of dollars on that too, on marketing.
Got it.
Which is just more money from me. More money from me. So that's cool though. It's all good. But that's definitely been, you know, that's a struggle. Like, there are some days where you're just like, man, you know, like, I got to transfer money in, like, keep it going, keep it rocking and rolling.
What kind of keeps you going through that? What is it? Is it keeping the eye on the prize? What during these moments where you just kind of see your bank? Because I know, I mean, entrepreneur girl, yeah. Like I've built businesses, and I remember my previous company, Coloft. It was the first co-working space, and that account.
Yeah, like how does it keep decreasing?
Every day, and you're just like, oh my god, how
Yeah.
am I even gonna do this, right? So what keeps you, I don't want to say motivated, because I find motivated to be short term, but what keeps you going in that moment?
Yeah, like I said, just realizing that these are the small sacrifices I'm going to make now, right, for hopefully something larger that I can build on the back end, right? If we can get a third store open in the next 9 months, I mean, I would love to have, multiple locations and have these all across the Las Vegas Valley, and eventually they're all churning and burning and working like clockwork and creating residual income to sustain a lifestyle that I want.
Eye on the prize.
Eye on the prize.
I love it.
It's painful in the beginning, though. You're just cutting
always, and sometimes a little longer than just the beginning. I mean, I know with especially with brick and mortar, like there's there's ups and downs, and you just gotta keep.
Yeah, it's seasonal sometimes. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. So what types of mental hurdles do you struggle with?
I think they change on the daily, right? It just depends what's on your plate and being thrown at you in that moment. There's a great graph that's out there that's like, the day of an entrepreneur, and it's
love that thing.
Right, and it's like, my life's amazing, and then it's like, oh no, this is the worst idea ever. And like, life's amazing again. Oh my god, I'm such an idiot. What am I gonna do? Life's amazing. I'm going bankrupt. Like it's up and down, up and down. I think that's true. I think that's mostly true, because you have to be able to adjust on the fly, right? And there's just so much that comes your way especially when you're the owner, right? Because the buck stops with you, right? Yeah. Everyone wants to talk to a decision maker. The buck's going to stop with you. You have to make those key decisions. So yeah, I think just mental hurdles is, just like we talked about before, keeping my eye on the prize, because I think it's easy to get bogged down in the minutia and feel very frustrated. Sure. So I try to scale up and remind myself, like, okay, why am I stressing myself out over this? Like, what am I working towards? Right. So it's a constant reminder.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. It's if you feed it, right?
Yes.
If you feed that negativity or whatever negative thoughts might come up, then you end up taking yourself down this like never ending.
Yeah. Well, whatever you feed will grow.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Whatever you feed will grow. So
and you are by nature somebody who's really positive and empowering.
I am. Yeah. It's just my nature to be positive and to look for the positive. So I'm very grateful that that's something that comes easily to me. But even then, even though that's totally part of my personality and like who I am, I still struggle with finding the positivity sometimes. Of course.
Of course. It's being human, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. So what advice do you have for women out there, whether they're women that are wanting to start a business or women that are struggling with their own demons or whatever it might be? What kind of advice do you have for them?
Just try to start something, right? Like take really actionable chunks. Like just make a to-do list of 3 items, 3 things that are in furtherance of whatever goal you have. You want to start a restaurant one day, whatever it is. Think of some, one of the things on your list should be like thinking of names and looking up the domains and seeing if they're available, looking at the social media handles, seeing if they're available. Like there's small little snippets of tasks that you can do that will all be in furtherance of whatever your ultimate goal is. And you can just break them down. You can do 1 a day. You could do 3 a day, whatever it is. And I think it's also important to remember you don't have to do these things alone.
Yes.
I think people think about, start my own business or whatever it is. And they're just like overwhelmed because they're like, I don't even know where to start. I have no experience in it, this and that. Well, guess what? Why don't you team up with someone who does have experience? Why don't you team up with someone who had a restaurant and maybe now they're doing something else, but they, are willing to consult for you or whatever. Like there's going to be people in your circle who either are doing exactly what you want to do or have experience doing what you want to do. Mm-hmm. Team up with them, incentivize them, get them on your team, and then you can create something.
I can't agree more. No, that's really, really great, actionable advice. I love that. I love that. Just fucking do it.
You gotta do it. Do something. Yeah. Like 3 things. Make a list of 3 things that you could do right now.
Totally. And you start and you take those little steps. I like to call them 3-foot tosses, right? You take those little steps. It's not a shot from half court. It's a little
No.
3-foot toss. You start building trust with yourself.
Well, and
Right.
everyone's looking for the home run, right? And it's like, I'm good with singles and doubles consistently.
Yes.
Right? Give me consistent singles and doubles all day, and that's what's going to feed you. You
Yes.
know?
Yes. I can't agree more. I can't agree more. So my favorite question, and the one that I have a very strong opinion about. How do you feel about women empowering women and women competing with women? Women competing with women is something that I can't, and I know you're a champion for women. That's another thing I love about you so much. Like, such a champion for women, like authentically, truly. I love that you posted a quote on your Instagram that was something like, be the girl that fixes the other girl's crown without her knowing or without anyone else knowing.
Yeah, like without the world knowing.
Without the world knowing, which is like so beautiful. And yes, we need so much more of that. I love that so much. And I'm so sick of seeing women that front like they are that, and then behind the scenes, not so much.
They're not so supportive. Yeah. You know, it's interesting because I come from a modeling and pageant background, right? Yeah. And modeling and pageantry, certainly, you know, it does have those stereotypes of being some of the cattiest industries. And there is some of that there. There are elements of it. But I have to say, some of my best girlfriends and even business partners like Danielle with Sin City Cupcakes came from the modeling and pageant industry.
Yeah.
So it's there, you know, like if you can find your tribe, you find the women who actually do support you, you can find them. You can find them in any industry. But I think to get it, you have to give it too.
100%.
Right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
And I think the way that you see that, because, you know, you come from a strong, like, especially like strong moms, you know, like you've got that background. My mom's a strong woman as well. So I think because we grew up seeing a strong woman be so supportive of us, right? It's the kind of like, you know how to love because you've been loved. That's how it is, I think. Like, if you've had any sort of role model in your life that's like a strong female role model that supported you and like sacrificed for you, you know how to do that for other women too.
Yeah. 100%. And at the end of the day, it's really an amplification of how you feel about you. Are you coming from a mindset of abundance and love, or are you coming from a mindset of fear and lack?
Scarcity. Yeah, exactly. Oh, there's not enough to go around. Oh, there's too much competition.
Exactly. But there's more than enough.
More than enough. Yeah, exactly. I think just like you said, you know, if you come from a place of abundance, and it's mental, right? Like you're just like, life's good. Like, you know, there's so much to go around. There's so much available in the world, so many resources, like let's give, right? And you're going to get that. You're going to get that back.
Yes. Yes. I can't agree more. Well, how can people find you, Beauty?
You can find me on any of the social media channels, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Lisa Song Sutton.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Seriously, probably like my favorite. You're just.
I love you. I love you. Thank you for doing this, like taking the time to, you know, seek out these women, pick their brains, you know, talk about vulnerable stuff. Like, I just think the messaging is so important because everyone always wants to talk about like the cool, great things going on. And there's a lot of it, you know, which is fantastic. But, you know, there has to be some realness in there. Otherwise, it's just, you don't learn anything, right?
100%. I can't agree more. And thank you so much for taking the time to be here.
Of course. Anytime. Anything for you, Cam.
Oh, love you, girl.
Love you.